Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
What's going on, folks? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to the Pro Fan Talk. My name is Marcus Thomas. Thank you for joining me. We are here. We are 4-0. Our Philadelphia Eagles. We are in Red October, as you can see. Rocking and rolling. We got Thursday night football coming on. I actually think that tonight's game will be a good game. Chicago should not have lost that game last week, and Washington should not have lost that game last week. So I think it'll be a good contest. Put these up here, and I think this will be a better game than most people think. I should say, I hope it'll be a better game than most people think. So what's up, Chucks? Chuck's number one out the limo, bro. I appreciate you for real. But yeah, man, this should be. I'm expecting this to be a good game, man. And let me throw this up there right now because just found out that Dick Butkus passed away. Got to give him his props. Dick Butkus was a tad bit before my time. His career was done, and he was into, the TV thing and the movie thing when I was growing up. But I saw enough NFL film footage of him to know that he was a bad man, and he used to wreck shop and put jokers in the dirt. Like, he was no joke, man. So big props out to Dick Butkus. Rest in power, brother. You were a staple. You were a hallmark. And you were an example of back in the day when it was hard-nosed, tough football. That's how people got it done, man. Dick Butkus was, he was a measuring stick of toughness, man. So yeah, man. Sorry to hear that. And then, of course, we are into Red October. Philly's got it done, and we are moving on. And it is very familiar to what we did last year. Same situation as last year, man. And I like that type of energy we had last year. Both teams were feeding off each other. And I hope to see the same thing this year. You had a bunch of Eagles going over to the Phillies games and vice versa. And you just kind of feed off that camaraderie, man. And when your squads are playing high-level baseball or football, cross it over. Go across the street, support the other team, because it works. It works. I never forget when – I believe it was when Iverson came in to an Eagles game and he had on an Eagles jersey with number 3 with Iverson on the back. That just jazzed everybody up, man. I thought that was awesome. So, I'm happy to see it, and I want to keep it going. We got something special, and let's just keep it going. Let's keep that momentum going and get things moving. So, I'm kind of happy to see that. Let me see. What else is going on? Did I miss something here? Nope. But we keeping it moving. You see me rubbernecking because I got the game on. You know what? No, this is NFL Network. And I guess I gotta switch it to Amazon Prime. So, Greg, what's going on, my bro? But yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff. You guys see my poll question for the night. I was talking about this today I asked this question earlier on my Facebook page yesterday and got a lot of feedback. Cunningham and Morrow should remain starters when Kobe Dean gets healthy. And I'm like, right now, you do not take Morrow off the field. You don't do it. Tom Arnone, what's going on, bro? Captain of the mothership, A2D Radio. I appreciate you, bro. You do not take Morrow off the field. Cunningham, you may have an argument, but in my opinion, Cunningham has been playing quite well as well. Cunningham has been playing better than expected. So you let them two guys, because they've kind of got a relationship thing going. I still don't think our defense communicates well, because it looks like we still having problems with the banjo. Banjo just means when the team goes in motion, you pass and coverage off. When you see all the linebackers and the DBs shift, we had problems with that in the Super Bowl, and we still having problems with it now. So we got to get that together. In saying all of that, I think Cunningham and Morrow have kind of built a relationship. They know each other's steps, and I say you leave it in there. If anything, the Kobe Dean's going to get some snaps in there. You would take Cunningham out, because I'm like, leave Morrow, let him do what he do. You know, the green dot is a thing now. Let him keep the green dot because it's working. If it's a flash in the pan, we will know very quickly, and you can still stick Kobe Dean in there. So I think it's a win-win either way. But the way those guys have been playing, you leave them be. Leave them be. So I don't want to see him take them off the field. You always want to go performance over loyalty, in my opinion. You got your guys, you got your the guys that you can always depend on. But if somebody is balling to this degree, you got to let them roll with it. You got to let them roll with it. It would be silly for you not to. Because the minute you put your guy in there and they get burned or beat or whatever the situation is, everybody's looking at you. Jake Friel, I see you, brother. Got to stick with the hot hand. Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. If they balling like this, let them go. Let them do. And on that note, one of my nitpicks is, and I say nitpicks because any complaint that you have and you undefeated, you nitpicking. You nitpicking. So yes, you want some things to do differently. We did the same thing last year with Jonathan Gannon. I think a lot of that is we kind of get into what we hear. We all know Seth wanted us to be more vocal, and it just not vocal, but more aggressive on defense with more blitzes and stuff like that. And that swell of support for that type of defense kind of grew. But you couldn't, what were you going to say? The way we were winning games and the way our defense was playing, our run defense was suspect, but our run defense was suspect all year. And we still got to the Super Bowl. And for all and should have won. But woulda, shoulda, coulda don't do nothing but rhyme. So I see a lot of, I guess, similarities in some of the things that we're getting killed on the defense. We still got that soft middle. Teams are still killing us in the middle of the field because for whatever reason, I saw last week we had Washington 3rd and 8. And then I look up and Slay and I guess it was Josh Jobe are playing a receiver 8 yards off the ball. And I'm like, why are you playing so far off the ball? And what do? They either slant you in or they clear out the line of the game, the first down line. They clear it out and they bring a crossover in or a late dig across the middle by the running back or something like that, all they do is put somebody in the middle of that field and you got space. And you leave it up to your quarterback to throw your man open. And they were killing us with that all game. Just take a 10 to 15 yard strip starting from 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. And if it was 3rd and 7, 8 or more, they were killing us with that. And it's going to be like that all year until we figure out how to stop it. Until we figure out how to stop it. Our defensive line, as good as they are, as good as Hurts, or as good as Jalen Carter has been, as good as Fletcher Cox has been, there is nothing you can do against a quarterback that gets rid of the ball in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, throw. We are going to see that for the rest of the year until we prove we can stop it. That's what Washington did. When we got to Sam Howell, that's when they were taking deep shots. And that's when he would drop 5 and 7 step drops, and he was looking at his 2nd and 3rd progressions. And by that time, we forced him out. He had some good runs out of the pocket trying to escape. He had a couple of good ones like that. And it was killing us because nobody expected Sam Howell to be able to run like that. And he did. And not that he's a great running quarterback, but he's fast enough to do what he got to do. And they kept using that phrase. He kept climbing the pocket. They kind of overdid it, but I get what they were saying. He stepped up in the pocket, and from his 2nd step in the pocket, if he didn't see what he wanted to see, he was gone. And you could tell that the Eagles had not prepared for that. They hadn't prepared for the possibility of Sam Howell scrambling and running for a first down. And that's exactly what he did. Run it till you stop it. So what do you think the rest of our opponents are going to do? They've been doing the same thing on defense. Everybody we've played does pretty much the same thing that Belichick did to us in week 1. So we got to show that we can beat it on defense. We got to show that we can stop it, or teams are going to keep running it on us. Period. It ain't that complicated. It is not that complicated. So we've got to figure out a way to guard that middle, bring the linebackers back to protect that line of scrimmage, not the line of scrimmage, but the first down line, and stop letting them come through the middle free. And all of that is figuring out what the defense is and putting that motion or that set so you make the linebacker shift. If you got 3 receivers, if you got a 31 or a 22 or whatever you got, if the safety's not hanging high, if he's going to come on one side or on the other, you already know what's coming. And teams can game plan that. They can look at us and say, okay, they do this, they run this. This is the purpose of watching film. They run this 58% of the time when it's 3rd and 6 or more. They're going to run this defense. And if they run this defense, here are the plays that we can run. And if they run this defense and Josh Jobe is on this receiver, here's the plays that we will run because Josh Jobe can't handle this receiver or whatever the situation is. That's how you game plan. You always hear me say, when I'm tweeting during the games and stuff like that, I will let you know real quick, are we losing or are we winning the chess match? The Super Bowl in the second half, we lost the chess match. We lost it. Andy Reid outsmarted Jonathan Gannon. You throw in a couple of extra penalties, that's the way it goes. Every game, that's the way it goes. Right now, penalties are kicking our butt on offense and on defense. More so on defense because we're making stops and getting stupid penalties. Not even a lot of penalties. It just seems like we're getting penalties at the worst possible time. And we're putting ourselves in bad situations, and we got to try to recover from it. So it's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. Brian, you'll take it week by week. I'm not mad at that. And I'm the same way. Again, that's why I call it nitpicking. That's why I call it nitpicking. And here's one thing you got to remember. Here's one thing we got to remember, right? We assumed, or at least I did, I won't speak for everybody else. We assumed that Brian Johnson's offense was going to be very, very similar to Shane Steichen's. And clearly, it is not. So what does that mean? That means that Jalen Hurts is having to learn another offense. This is what, his 7th since he was in college? Last year, 2021, going to 2022, I said Jalen Hurts is going to be better throwing the ball and running the offense because now he has the answers to the test. He had to learn the offense in 21. 22, you had Shane Steichen stayed, and you could tell he knew what he was doing. Now you look at the mistakes this year. You look at the interception he throws at Washington. DeAndre Swift goes out to the left. He breaks inside, and Jalen Hurts throws it right to the cornerback on the outside. He was expecting DeAndre Swift to curl it up right there. And the reason why you know that is because Jalen Hurts threw to a location, and he threw with anticipation. Swift just wasn't there. That wasn't a great play by the cornerback. That was a mistake. Now, mind you, when Swift breaks to the inside, he's open. But Jalen Hurts had already delivered the ball. That's when you hear folks talk about not being on the same page, stuff like that. DeAndre Swift was thinking something totally different or just ran the wrong pattern. Because a lot of times when you talk about getting synced, you don't tell your receiver or your running back what to do. Your receiver or your running back is supposed to know, hey, if the DB drops back, you do this. If he comes to press you, you do this. If he goes to your inside, you run this. Mental reps, that's the stuff you do in practice all the time. Don, what's going on, bro? Appreciate you. That's what you do in practice. The mental reps. What happens when somebody plays you inside, outside, press, drops back? All those different things can have different outcomes depending. And when you're on the same page, that's like unspoken communication. I already know what he's going to do if he plays your outside shoulder. I already know what he's going to do if you got an inside shoulder. If he plays you head up, I know what he's going to do if he tries to put hands on you and bump you. You already know that. DeAndre Swift hasn't been around long enough to, I guess, get that down. Now, when you look at the way the offense played against Washington, overall, it was a lot better. What up, Chrome? Chrome, listen, don't get it twisted. I'm a fan of Nakobe Dean. I'm a fan of Nakobe Dean. And I think Nakobe Dean is going to be a stud. However, the same way, for the same reason you guys were giving me crap about Kenny Gainwell. Chucks is still listening. Chucks know what I'm talking about. Kenny Gainwell deserved to start. But when you see what DeAndre Swift was doing, it's like you can't argue with that. It's the same thing right now with Nakobe Dean. He got hurt. I don't buy all of that stuff about you can't lose your job to injury. The hell you can't. It's happened. It's happened to me before. It's not a good feeling. Let me say it like this. Let me clarify. If you lose your job to injury and the guy that's replacing you is not as good, that's a problem. That's happened a lot too. Then you get into politics and all of the other kind of mess you don't want to get into. But it happens a lot. But if you go down and the guy that's replacing you is balling out, guess what? You leave that man on the field. Leave him on the field. My success at Eastern Kentucky happened because Tim Lester, and I'm talking about the same Tim Lester that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and blocked for Jerome Bettis for all of those years. They used to call him the bus driver. Tim Lester was our starting tailback. He tears his ACL against Delaware State. I come in and I have like 90 yards and 2 touchdowns or whatever. And I never left the field. They could not get me off that field. When Tim got healthy and came back, he had put on about 15 pounds and he was my starting fullback. But I put it down so well that they could not take me off the field. This is the same situation with Morrow. If he was just okay and average, I would get it. But he getting it done. Look at all the stuff that I said about Christian Ellis. I said Christian Ellis was going to be the dark horse. Christian Ellis was going to step in and be a starter and all this, that, and the other. And guess what? Christian Ellis, I don't even think he had, 3 snaps last week? Something like that. He didn't get much PT. These boys are coming in, Cunningham and Morrow, and they are getting it done. If it flames out, it flames out. Then you make the switch. Then you make the switch. But right now, let them continue wreck shop. They'll continue doing that. Now, my other nitpick is DeAndre Swift. I do not like when they take him off the field, and I don't like when they take him off the field. If it's second or third and short, I want DeAndre Swift on the field. Period. If you got first or second down or whatever you want to do when you want to stick Gainwell in there, I'm good with that. Because I don't want DeAndre Swift having 25, 30 touches or whatever like that. They're not going to do him like that, but you get what I'm saying. Now you mix in Gainwell, you run the ball, let him get some running and do what you got to do. But if it's third and short or it's a crucial point in the game, I want the best player on the field, period. And for whatever reason, it seems like the Eagles go with these packages and not so much on personnel. And it's like, no, I want that dude on the field. To me, that's like, okay, you're going to take Jalen off the field so you can let Mariota run this play. Like, people will look at you like you nuts. It's the same. It should be the same way at every position. Every position, it should be the same way. So if we need a yard, if we need 2 yards, I love Kenny Gainwell. Get him out of there. Get Swift in there and do what he got to do. And on top of that, why don't we have any sweeps for DeAndre Swift? If there's been some sweeps, I haven't seen them. So I don't know. Is it because they running everything out of gun? I don't know. I want to see a quick pitch right or left in short yardage to get him on the corners so he is racing either the defensive end or that cornerback over there and trying to race him to the first down line or the goal line or whatever the case may be. He can win those battles because he's that explosive. He's that fast. So that's what I want to see. That's a mismatch we can take advantage of. So let's take advantage of it. So, again, those are nitpicks. They kind of abandoned the run game. But, again, when A.J. Brown does what he does, he goes for 150 and then goes for 170 the next week. What you going to say? Yes, I want to see Dallas Goedert get the ball, but A.J. Brown is doing his thing. So you got to pick your poison, man. There's 22 people on the field and only one ball. So it's only so much that you can do. But what I think will happen is because A.J. Brown's last 2 weeks, right? Clearly, A.J. Brown is the game plan. So when the Rams start watching tape, the Rams are saying, how do we slow down A.J. Brown? You're not going to stop him, but we got to figure out a way to mitigate and lessen his impact. And what that's going to do is Dallas Goedert, this is his time. He should get a lot of targets because I've been noticing he's been open, but in my opinion, they're looking to get the ball to A.J. Brown. And I ain't got a problem with that because A.J. Brown is catching it. A.J. Brown is scoring, period. He's the hot hand, so you roll with it. However, what's the first thing they're going to do to slow down A.J. Brown? Depending on what defense they're running, they're going to bring that safety from over the top to help at that cornerback to get him some help. And if that safety goes over to help on A.J. Brown, that means, again, depending on what kind of coverage they're in, but that could mean that middle, that mid to deep middle is going to be wide open for the tight end. And what helps that even more is the running back. The running back. Play action, sticking that ball out there, getting those linebackers to flow, and respect the fact that DeAndre Swift can take it to the house at any given moment. You got to respect that, or he's going to gut you, or he'll have another 150-yard game. So pick your poison once again, and we got to force teams to do that. And sometimes it seems like we kind of take our foot off the gas, and we don't do that. And that's curious to me. So we got to figure out what we're going to do. John says, I agree to the poll. They just have to keep rolling. I like Dean, but these boys are playing like they deserve a spot, just like Swift. Love Gainwell, but got to let the hungry dogs eat. Facts. Yes, sir. Got to let him eat. If he's getting it done, nothing personal, just business. Let him do what he got to do. Let him do what he got to do. I wanted to answer a question. I saw it a while back. Let me go back. Chrome. Would I sign Randy Gregory? Right now, and of course, this question is going to come up because of Fletcher Cox now. Because when you have a back injury, that's a lingering issue, especially with big guys. So that's a tough one. I wouldn't mind him. I'm curious as to what his. I'm not familiar with his temperament. I'm familiar with his play. I'm not familiar with his temperament. So, Manny, they did come off the gas on Sunday, just strictly by some of the play calling. Some of the play calling was suspect. And again, that goes to my critique of not running Swift outside. Everything was tackle to tackle, and we had opportunities to do that, and we just didn't do it. So that's kind of play calling and stuff like that. There's other things that we could have done better, but we're getting better. So again, that's a nitpick. And when you're 4-0, that's all you're doing is nitpicking. So, lost my train of thought. We keep moving. Ryan says the Eagles linebackers are doing a great job at stopping the run and getting sacks, but they're horrible in coverage just as much as the secondary is. Yes, they are. And it goes back to everybody's jumping on this Vic Fangio scheme like Gannon did last year, where you're not giving up the big plays. Except this year, it seems like we are. We're giving up chunk plays. How in the world can you let Sam Howell go 64 yards in a minute 45? On top of the penalty that A.J. Brown got. But you playing so far off the ball, they coming underneath. Or they would run that drag or out and get their butts out of bounds, preserve the timeouts, and they did that all the way down the field. And the second to last pass that they threw was incomplete. They left them 1 second on the clock to score. He catches that ball. If that ball's not in the dirt, game's over. So, again, nitpicking. I got Washington winning tonight. Although I don't know if you heard me earlier. I think this will be a good game. As bad as the Bears have been playing, they played well last week, and I expect them to build off of that. So this should be a pretty decent game, as opposed to what everybody thought it was going to be, off the rip. So, and now you're starting to hear a little bit of talk about Justin Fields, like what's going to happen if Justin Fields, like, I don't think all of this is on Justin Fields. Can't be. So we'll see what's going to happen. So I'm expecting a good game tonight. So we'll see. We'll keep it going. But I like that Bradbury's going to go back to his natural spot. I expect teams to continue to go after Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe's been playing relatively well. However, he doesn't have a lot of snaps in big picture. So he's somebody you can go after. Me personally, I want to see a little bit more Eli Ricks because he showed it in the preseason, and I need him to get in there and get some snaps because I believe before it's all said and done, we are going to need him to play some significant snaps. So we got to get him in here to get the mental reps going. Because I believe Eli Ricks, just like Reed Blankenship, if he gets in there and gets comfortable, we got one. We got one. Yeah. We still early though, Ryan. We still early. Very early. So hopefully Sean Desai will not make the same mistake that Gannon made. And hopefully, because let's keep it real now. We only in week 5. We got a long way to go. We got 12 more weeks of football coming after this. So we got a long way to go. So a lot of things can happen. And the way the injury bug goes around the league around week 7, 8, and 9, you don't know what's going to happen. I haven't seen anybody really, we haven't really had a chance to really look at it, but I know this week watching San Francisco and Dallas, I want to see San Francisco test who's replacing Diggs on Dallas. And is he up to snuff? Because right now, Brandon Ayuk is balling. So, I keep flip-flopping, in my opinion, right now, San Francisco is the best team in the league right now. Miami got exposed. Buffalo already lost. So San Francisco is the best team in the league. Got to give them their props. I keep flip-flopping between us and Dallas as number 2. Now, if you just want to keep it in the NFC, San Francisco and I think us and Dallas are tied. And the reason I say that, and I would give the edge to Dallas, only because their defense has been dominant. Ours has not. We know we got a better defense. But again, this is the chess match. Their defense has 12 turnovers in 4 games or something goofy like that? Off the charts. And if it was our defense doing that, there would be no question. So you got to give that edge to Dallas. Their offense hasn't been great, but they haven't had to be. That's the only thing that I think right now our offense is better than Dallas's offense, but defense wins championships. And when your defense is scoring points like that, causing turnovers, you got to take notice. So I give Dallas the edge because their defense is just playing better. I don't necessarily think man to man they are better, but they're playing better right now, and you can't deny that. We play them when we can't sleep on them. If Cup is hurt, they're a wild card thing. Listen, I'm not worried about Cooper Kupp. I'm worried about what's the name? Puka Nakua. Hakuna Matata. What? Puka Nakua. This kid is like got the most receiving yards for a rookie ever. So I don't know if he's on a hot streak, but again, you keep feeding it. Keep feeding them till they stop him. And who we putting on him? Is it going to be Slay? Is it going, or are they going to play it smart and move the kid around and let him do what he's been doing? That would be the choice I would make. Whatever they've been doing, keep doing it. Because apparently, can't nobody stop this kid. I believe he's only got one touchdown, but he's got like 500 yards or something like that. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. Passing, receiving. He's leading the league in reception? Hold on. That can't be. Is that right? He's number 2. Justin Jefferson. He's behind Justin Jefferson by like 42 yards. Justin Jefferson has 543 receptions. 543 yards and 3 touchdowns on 33 receptions. This kid has 39 receptions, 501 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he's 52 targets. So the kid's putting in work. He's putting in work. We got to have somebody to stop him. And what do you think LA is going to do with Matthew Stafford? I don't care if Matthew Stafford has a bum hip or not. Matthew Stafford is not a running quarterback anyways. So as long as he can, his hip is well enough for him to drop back and throw the ball, he'll be in good shape. He'll be in good shape. But hold on, let me pay some bills real quick. Let me find this. Where is it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Hold on. Oh Lord. No. I'm trying to find this commercial. Oh, there we go. Royal Builders. Hold on. Let me pay some bills. I'll be right back in a second.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
And fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
And we're back. And I'm back. Yeah, John, that's what I was getting into, the quick release. What do you think he's going to do? 1, 2, 3 drop, 1, 2, 3 throw, 1, 2, 3 throw. That's how Washington killed us. When we started getting to Sam Howell was when he was dropping back in that 5 and 7 and trying to survey the field, and our rush got to him. So if you look at what they did when they had their most success, getting rid of the ball quick. So your defensive line can't get to the quarterback because the ball is gone. But if the ball is gone, that means you got to have quick routes to throw it to. If you don't have quick routes, the best way to be there is to play man coverage. Now, you can't play man coverage all the time, or you're going to wear your defensive secondary out. But you got to find some type of balance and some type of way to protect yourself, because it's going to happen. That is the purpose of game planning and watching film as a team. That is the main purpose of it. You watch the other games, you watch games from last year, whatever you got to do. So you know, and this is when analytics come into play, we already know that when we are on this part of the field in this quarter, they're going to run this 38% of the time. They're going to run this 22% of the time. They're going to have this guy on the field 39% of the, that's where all the analytics come into play. But you still got to be able to look at the board and put the piece in the right place. So we'll see how Desai is going to counteract this. Because if you're going to have Cooper Kupp, I'm not really worried about Cooper Kupp because he hasn't played. And you just don't jump on the field and go straight to game speed. That doesn't happen. It takes a little bit to, it's like pulling a lawnmower. It's going to take 4 or 5 pulls to get it, especially if it's been sitting in the garage for all summer, all winter. But they got to be ready for that. They have to be ready for that. So we'll see what they're going to do. And we got some issues. We've got some issues because, hold on. Cam Jurgens is out. Sua Opeta is in. And guess who Opeta's got to go against? Aaron Donald. How's that for fun? How's that for fun? Now, he might be able to handle himself, but you got all pros that can't handle Aaron Donald. So anticipate the fact that he's going to struggle a little bit. And we're going to have to get some double teams. And the same way that teams are struggling with Jalen Carter, we're going to struggle with Aaron Donald. So it'll be interesting how we manage that. Because it's coming. Pressure from Donald is coming. Yeah, but John, if Jason Kelce has to help in the double team, whenever there's a double team, somebody's free. That's the chess match. Are you coming with a late linebacker blitz? Is somebody looping around? That's the chess match. Because the minute you got 2-on-1, somebody's not blocked. So they're going to have that linebacker, or however they're going to do it, whatever scheme they're going to come up with, to have that fifth rusher, because he's unaccounted for. Now, when you got somebody like Kelce, he's always looking. That's when you see the offensive guards and the centers, and sometimes the O tackles, when they come off of a block and they see, like sometimes a tackle, if he blocks down and you see a rush or a twist coming from outside, he'll get off the block and go outside, get off the double team and go get the man so he doesn't come in free. But when you're 5-on-5 and you have a double team, or if you're 4-on-5 and you have a double team, that means there's a gap somewhere. So what happens if they twist to the double team? If Aaron Donald lines up on our left, right, and Jason Kelce steps left to double team, so that means you got Kelce, Leonard Dickerson, then you got Mailata on your left. So that means everybody's engaged on your left. So if you send an extra man, even though we outnumber them, the strategy is to send more men on that left side. That's how you beat them. That's how you win the chess match. So it's all about matchups. It's all about making your opponent second guess what it is they want to do. Why do you think when we played the Patriots, when we played the Buccaneers, I didn't see it as much last week with Washington. But those first 2 games, did you notice how the linebackers, it would either be 1 or 2 linebackers that they would all get up in the gaps on the line of scrimmage. So now you got 6, 7, and sometimes 8 men in the box, and on no snap, they would all bail. Because if you look, I believe it was that first game, when Jalen Hurts threw that pick. Everybody was on the line of scrimmage. The linebackers bailed out. And it just so happened that one linebacker was just, I don't know if Jalen Hurts' line of sight was blocked, but the linebacker was to his left and he couldn't see him. So when he threw the ball, the linebacker stepped out, made a great play, and made the pick. That was just great coverage. And that was a great scheme. And they baited Jalen Hurts to do exactly what they wanted him to do. Looks like there's a blitz. And when you look up, you either don't see the guy or you realize there's an extra man in coverage, so you don't throw the ball. That's when you I've been hearing the term turn downs. That's when Jalen Hurts goes for the hit, like he's patting the ball, he wants to throw it, but he turns it down. He turned down that receiver, because everybody's covered. Defense wins. Now internal clock is rolling. Now you're going on 4 and 5 seconds. Now you in sack territory. So now I got to get out of here. So now I got to find a lane to run. Juxtapose that to the pass play when he threw Zacchaeus open. Olamide Zacchaeus, he throws that pass. He stood in the pocket. They always want to give you props for staying in the pocket and staring it down and taking the hit and delivering the ball. Well, he did that. He could have bailed out, and he would have every right to bail out, because if you watch that play again, you see the flash from that defensive end on his left coming. But he stayed in the pocket and delivered the ball and threw Zacchaeus open. Threw it to a location. Zacchaeus goes and gets the ball, 6 points. So that's a gamble that didn't pay off. It paid off for us, but not for the defense. That's the strategy going back and forth with all of this stuff, man. It's always a chess match. Always a chess match. Everybody was doing, what do they call that? The mud rush, the muddle rush. Basically, you give up the rush. You let your 4 men see if they can get home. And you drop all the linebackers back. Now, every part of the zone is covered. And a couple times, I would imagine in these 4 games, we've probably had more coverage sacks than we had in the last 2 years. If you notice, Jalen Hurts has run the ball. Statistically, he's run the ball more this year than he did last year. Not because he's doing the RPOs, because he's taking the sacks. And he's getting those 1 and 2 yards and getting back to the line of scrimmage and getting up out of there because of coverage sacks. You drop both those linebackers back and they sit right in that zone. So everywhere Jalen looks, when he goes through his progressions, there's somebody there. There's somebody there. And that's a good strategy because you're trying to force him to make a mistake. So we got to figure out a way to beat that. I still don't think we run enough hot routes. Maybe that's just me, or maybe I don't see them. But we need to have them routes 1, 2, 3 throw. We need to have those too. And Chucks, if you still on here, chime in. How many screens have we ran? That's what I want to know. How many screens have we ran? We need to get DeAndre Swift. Now, Jalen missed the throw last week. He missed a touchdown throw. So, and we can't have that. The further along we get in the season, those plays, we got to have them. Last year we had those plays because he was just in sync. So we got to see what we can stop. We know what's coming, but we got to make the right move the right chess piece. I think I said this earlier. I think this is going to be Dallas Goedert. He's going to have a good game, I'm thinking, because everybody's going to be concentrating on AJ. I'm hoping we'll see some more Eli Ricks. I don't see it unless there's an issue. And just, man, can we have a clean game, please? Like no injuries, no dings. Like we are paying the price for the year we had last year, because we really didn't have injuries. You had Jalen Hurts' injury. You had C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think we had 3, maybe 4 major injuries. That's it. But in comparison to the rest of the league, we had a pretty mild year when it comes to injuries last year. And I think now the law of averages has just caught up with us. Because every week it's just somebody. So now Zacchaeus is going to be returning. Covey is out. Covey finally comes into his own and it starts clicking for him as a returner, and he gets concussed. So it's like, daggone. Like, give me a break, man. So we just gotta keep this going. And we gotta come up with some stops and not and let me say it like this. Again with the nitpicks. There was probably about 3 drives last week against Washington where if it wasn't for penalties, we would have had the ball back. And the situation would have been totally different. But it didn't happen. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, don't do nothing but rhyme. And those are the things that we got to get right. Those are the things that we had that were going in our favor last year. And I don't think we are, when I say we're not playing up to our level, it's because of things like that. Don, you must have missed me earlier. I'm thinking tonight's game is going to be a pretty decent one. Because I think Washington, there's no moral victories in the NFL, but they had to look at that tape against us and get some confidence out of that. And Bieniemy was, had to be looking like we had an opportunity to win this game and should have won the game, but we didn't. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. Then you look at the Bears and you look at what the Bears did last week, even though they lost, but Justin Fields looked like a real quarterback. So I'm expecting this to be a pretty decent game. So I don't think it's going to be a drag fest or just boring. I think this is going to be pretty good. And plus, I want to see what Justin Fields is going to do. So what's up, Derry? They did have a few good bounces. I believe my tally is at 2 drop picks for our secondary. I've only seen 2. If there's more, I didn't really see any drop picks in the first 2 games, but I know Slay dropped one against the Buccaneers, and then Edmonds dropped that one in the end zone against Washington. So that's 2 drop picks that we should have. I'm trying to keep a running tally of that. So, and I'm also trying to turn on Amazon Prime so I can watch the game. But we gotta when we have an opportunity to get our hands on the ball, we missed the interception and we missed the fumble recovery in the end zone. That makes that whole game, that puts it in a totally different situation. It's not a close game. They had just talked about Robinson fumbling, and then he fumbles on the goal line. We just didn't get it. Like, I'd have been punching that ball all day. I think Derry, I think Eric Bieniemy is starting to pay dividends for Washington. So I think he's going to be good. I think Ron Rivera is going to be out this year. And I said this last week. I'm happy for Chase Young because that kid basically went through a 2-year rehab and looked like he's playing up to par as advertised. So I never like to see when the kids go down to injuries like that. So while I wanted to win, I'm happy to see Chase Young like balling. And speaking of Chase, what's up with this Chase Claypool? Of course, every time somebody goes free, like Gregory, Chase Claypool, Budda Baker, everybody wants to attach the Eagles to it. Now, Chase Claypool, for all intent and purposes, sounds like he has been a cancer. So, Don, my thoughts on that. is it almost cost us the game. It was horrible. I thought it was horrible. Why are we playing off so far when they got one shot to the end zone? You protect the line. And he threw it right in front of us. And it's like, ugh. It was horrible. Very frustrating. What's up with our pass defense? We have 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks, and we are in the bottom half of every coverage related. Yes, we are. That's the thing we're talking about. That we giving up that middle. We giving up that soft middle so they don't get big plays. Well, you're not going to get the deep play or the long play when you're on the 30-yard going in. That's just the nature of like the Vic Fangio style, I guess. I don't know. I don't like it either. Brian Daly, what's going on, my guy? I don't like it either, man. So I hope, I'm looking forward to it getting better as the season goes on. That's all I can say. Because you got to think of it like this, and this is where I take off the fan hat and put on the former player hat. Guaranteed, they are watching film on this, and they are saying the exact same things that we're thinking. Matter of fact, they probably thought about that 2 and 3 weeks ago. But you got to understand there is a method to the madness. There's a reason why they're standing that defense. There's a reason why they do the things that they do. And I keep saying this, coaches are creatures of habit. Coaches are creatures of habit. The good coaches know how and when to make the adjustments. So, Don 100%. I'm worried about Puka. That kid, Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua. I'm worried about that dude. And I know they got a good coach and a good offensive mind that can expose us. And that's where the frustration will come from if we play the same type of defense and they burn us the same kind of way. That's when it's really going to set in. And that's when Sean Desai is really going to catch it. That's when we're really going to catch it. Because you know what's coming. And it'll look like we still are not prepared for it. So I hope he's ready. I will trust. You don't get to this level. Well, most coaches don't get to this level without being prepared in some way, shape, or form. Let me say it like that. Martian, yes, we have problems with bunch formations, and we have problems with motion. We have still not got our banjo together. Banjo just means when somebody goes in motion, like the Super Bowl, and you're supposed to shift and move the linebackers over, move the cornerbacks over to adjust the coverage. It's not happening in a timely fashion. And if you saw that jet sweep that Washington did, they didn't roll the coverage over fast enough. And it looks like they're not communicating good enough. Because you should know, somebody goes in motion. I know that's a way that, if you guys don't know this, when a man goes in motion, if nobody goes with him, you automatically know that the defense is in zone coverage. If somebody goes with him, you automatically know that they're in man-to-man coverage. That's the telltale factor. That's the biggest reason why teams put people in motion. So I can get a gist of, are we in man or are they in zone? But what they're doing now is, if they send, you look at what Miami's doing. And of course, everybody's copycat league. NFL is a copycat league. You saw what Miami did when they put that 70 up against Denver. Everybody's sending jet motion and wide motion and arc motion behind the quarterback. They're doing all of that same stuff so they can get their best receiver a running start. And they're going to force the DBs to drop back a little bit, because if the DBs stay in that 3 to 5 yard zone, and your receiver has a running start, he's got a running start. He's got the momentum, and it's going to be a hard proposition for the DB to back up, open them hips, because as soon as he opens his hips, if that wide receiver makes a move, he's done. He's done. That's the strategy of it. That's the chess match. Yeah, we always in zone. You 100%. At least it seems like it. And right now, here's the thing. Bradbury and Slay, as older players, now even though not Bradbury, but Slay has still got, in my opinion, top level speed. But he's better. When you got speed like that, you are better served playing man. You don't have to bump all the time, but you can play man to man. And what that does is that forces the quarterback to get rid of the ball quick. Forces him to get rid of the ball quick. Because if he does 1, 2, 3, and you're a man to man, he's got to hit you. So I'm sorry, I said that wrong. He wants to get rid of the ball quick, but he can't because you're in man to man coverage. So if you're in man coverage and you throw that quick slant, there's a larger opportunity to knock the ball down, get a pass breakup, or the ball is off center. Maybe a pick, maybe you tip it up in the air, things can happen. But that can only happen when you're in man coverage and, you don't have that open space. So, but listen, man, we're going to figure it out and we will find out. Number one, we're going to find out who's the best team in the NFC. Is it the Cowboys or is it San Francisco? Because I've seen San Francisco dominate on offense and defense. Right now, if he stays healthy, CMC is your MVP this year. Period. Dallas's defense is off the charts right now. And San Francisco's defense is third. So it ain't like they slouches either. So, but if I'm putting them head to head, I will take San Francisco's defense over Dallas's offense. Right? And the Eagles, we have not put a game together where the offense and the defense have both been dominant. We have not done that. And that's what I'm waiting to see. That's what I'm waiting to see. That's the stuff that we still kind of putting together. So, the low key, that's not low key. Linebackers have been balling. We talked about that earlier, Don. You see my poll question. Morrow should remain the starter when Nakobe Dean gets healthy. Period. He's balling. Let him go. Weakest link. Reed Blankenship. Ed Reed Blankenship. I like that. I said this last year, man. I had no problem with Reed Blankenship playing. He's a smart player. It looks like he got a little bit faster. He's a very cerebral player. He knows where to be. He knows around the ball. And when he has an opportunity to catch an interception, he catches it. I'm still mad that Slay only had like 4 picks last year. Slay should have had like 7 or 8 picks last year. They dropping the picks, man. When you get your hands on the ball, let's get it. Get the ball to the offense. Let Jalen Hurts do his thing. Let's keep it moving. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. One more thing real quick. Wanted to give a shout out. I went up to Top Golf in Mount Laurel. And I went to the NFLPA meeting. So I wanted to give a shout out to all the guys that I hooked up with and met up with. And hopefully I'm going to get some guys on the podcast in the future. Got a lot of good contacts, and we're going to keep this thing going. So I definitely want to get a shout out to all the fellas I met up at the NFLPA. If some of them are watching, I appreciate you. Jump in the chat going forward and tell your friends about me. But I'm definitely going to have some of them guys in the podcast going forward. So definitely looking forward to that. But I'm ready to watch this game. And let's see what we can see. See if it's a good game. But I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate you guys. Carl Patetti's in the building. I see you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Check out my YouTube channel, Pro Fan Talk, and you will see me here every Thursday. This is the mothership. We ain't playing and we ain't going nowhere. All right. I'm going to see you guys next week. Talk to you later. Go Birds. Peace.